Hey all, it's Dinxxlstf, and it's kind of a sudden review, but I was asked to do the sequel to Magic Mike XXL, and I just got from the movie theater and watched it, and I have to say, the story kind of picks up after the events of the first Magic Mike. But the first thing I want to come out and say very clearly that I am straight. No one believes me probably, but I was asked to do this. But I have to remember that. I remember the first story of Magic Mike, and it was actually kind of an interesting story. And how a guy who's trying to, well, we fast forward the clock 3 years later. Turns out Chatham's character is still trying to get his furniture company off the ground, but he has had some success. He's hired one employee and works his ass off to get that one employee medical benefits. He's really now Brooke. If we all remember, Brooke was his love interest at the end on that. So, out of the first Magic Mike, and there seems to be something going on between him and Brooke. Specifically, he finds a bowl of ice cream in there and says, "Let's get fat together, B." And he doesn't know what's wrong. So so Mike gets a call from Ken, which is Kevin Nash's character, and telling him that Dallas is gone. And the movie illustrates that Dallas, which is Matthew McConaughey's character, which is not in this one, abandoned the rest of the male strippers that he left, after he left in the first one, abandoned them to China and got some billionaire to hook to pay all this money to start a club over in Macau and spend all this money. So these guys are kind of lost, and they're coming up in age, and they want one last kind of big hurrah. And he goes there thinking it's a funeral rite, but it's actually a party for them. and he's greeted by one of his former male strippers who is naked, grabs Magic Mike, and tosses him in the pool. Which was funny, but it was like, what the F moment. But it explained the whole story of what happened to Dallas and what's going on. Now, this film picks up where Mike is still working, is trying to get his company off the ground, and his ex co-workers or stripper friends were going to the stripper convention up in Myrtle Beach for the last hurrah. Well, Mike gets the bug because something's going on at home, and he says he wants to go. Now, you would think Mike was still with Brooke. Well, during this trip, you find a lot of changes in the group where they're doing similar routines. Mike encourages them to dump those routines and let's do something different and new. And they're a little nervous about it, but then they take some ecstasy, and about an hour later, everyone was cool with it. No fake. Well, then they end up crashing the truck, or the food truck they were on, and the driver, which was the drug dealer, or the friend of the drug dealers in the first one, got a concussion. So they have to stay in Georgia, approximately, I think, or somewhere in there. And there's a couple of things there, but then during the hospital it is explained, then this is a spoiler alert, that Chatham's love, Brooke, he did everything to ask her to marry him, and she said no, and he doesn't understand it. And he did everything right. He said, I had the house, I had the dog, I had everything, and she just said no. So he says, you want to talk about a suck year, I got you all beat. Okay. And you can kind of see it a little bit on what he's going through. So he's kind of going up there to get in touch with Magic Mike a little bit again. So, as fate dictates, they are stuck in Georgia. Well, this is close to where Magic learned his trade on that, where he has to go visit a mentor of his in the past, which to ask for help to guide him. So, well, he finds out there's a whole backstory there with him, but that they patch things up and then they go north. But while they're actually going north towards Myrtle Beach, they stop over at this girl's house, which is actually her mother's house, and the mother's super filthy rich because the father cheated on her. And basically, the daughters, get this weird stuff, the daughters are the one that met the strippers, gave them the phone number, and the strippers came up, and the mother was the one, you know, like getting the moves on the stripper. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. But with it, even Magic Mike was like, oh man, this is like bad. This is really bad. So they're all, but then at the end of the night, after everything's over, everybody wakes up, they find out that one of the guys really likes the mom more than the daughter, and he's older and she's older, and it just kind of works. So he said they'll come back, but we'll get back to the moment. So literally they go up from there up to Myrtle Beach and the stripper, and they bump into the old manager of his old stripper club, and then they have to come up with a new plan, and they all work together. Now this is what I call the A-team sequence, is that basically everybody's sewing, everyone's doing something, everybody's singing. I mean, you could have played the A-team music in the background and you would have gotten, I think most of you would have understood that reference on that, and then they do it. Now, the longest part of the whole film is their performance, but the way they filmed it was like it was a live event. And it took quite a while because it was short performances, but it was every character, every person. And they all explain how nervous they were, but they also get mad at stuff like stupid Twilight vampire crap. and it was kind of funny. That stuff was kind of funny. But they go out there and they do a show. Now, during this whole thing, Chana meets another girl. Now, he doesn't get romantically hooked up with her on that, but he kind of helps bring a smile to her, and she helps him get a smile back. It's hard to understand that with the phrase, I lost my smile, because you're jaded from the world, and it's very, very hard to understand unless you have lost your smile on that, and it takes a long time. But at the end of the film, the fireworks are going off, everyone's happy, everybody had a good time, and everyone came out a winner. But nothing is resolved. 3 saga. I'm sure Magic Mike 3 is coming. But here's the thing. Nothing was resolved. His stuff with Brooke wasn't resolved. His stuff with the new girl wasn't resolved. We don't know if the other guy got hooked up with the mom. We don't know, because Kevin Nash actually had the really biggest downer moment in the whole film where he's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This whole stripper thing is a double-bladed sword. Because on one hand, you say you this, but he said, I would give everything if I had a wife who loved me and a kid at home. I would give everything back if I could have that. And it was a real big downer in the thing, but you could understand the point. And I guess that was kind of a tribute to what some of these guys live, because stepping away from that lifestyle could be rather tough. Now, let's talk about the technical aspects. First of all, listen to this. They obviously set it up for another sequel. I don't know if they're going to do it, because when I was there, but I was early afternoon, there wasn't a lot of people filling the seats. So I think it'll be successful. I think actually probably it'll be a better success DVD-wise than it will that, because I teased a few people at work, like, hey, you want to go see Magic Mike? And she's like, no, I feel guilty with my husband. And I'm like, okay, so if it basically comes out of Hulu, oh yeah, then I'll watch it. Yeah, no evidence. So we'll see on how that comes. I think it will be a commercial success, but I don't think it's going to be a success in the theater on that. At least it's not going to dethrone the current movies that are out there, Jurassic Park and Terminator. I don't think it will, but it might. Who knows? If the weekend is still young. I have to say the technical choreography, the dancing, I'm not into that, but I got to admit some of the moves were just awesome. Like it kind of made you like, damn, I wish I could move like that. There's this really cheesy scene with Chatham where he's like introducing his name and then he does his Magic Mike spin and you just can't bust laughing because you're like, it was really badass, but at the same time it was like, man, you're such a dork. You're such a dork. You're doing that, but you could understand it. That's one thing. I think the dancing, the choreography was really good. I think the push to improvise was really good. Some of the stuff that was kind of neat, but some of it was overplayed. Like they played off every single movie. Like 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, Tarzan. Man in the Mirror, Justin Timberlake-esque. They kind of played off everything, which is understandable because they're male entertainers and girls see that and they want something to mimic it if it's good, and you can see that. So I think here, I think the dancing was good. The whole problem with the whole film was the plot, because it was like this roller coaster that. It is like you're going up and then you're going on this trip and you're around here and then you have this little side loop and then you come to the end and you're kind of like nothing was resolved and there was no to be continued or nothing. Personally, they talked about Dallas, Matthew McConaughey's character, so much. I think Chatham may have made a deal with Matthew McConaughey to bring him back for the third one. I will say that in the first one, Matthew McConaughey, his personality really shined through, whereas this one, it was all Chatham, and it was all little male sex things, all movements, stuff like that. I do admit, after seeing the movie, I would like 8-pack abs, but that's tough work. I don't know if it's worth a theater. I think if you're in a group of girls and your girls, go for it. If you're the boy, if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend, you better be confident because, whoo, that's either going to be a powder keg of awesomeness or a disaster. I don't know, but. Anyway, this is Dinxxlstf. I'm sure it's fun though. The comedy was pretty fun. The whole thing was entertaining. It just lacked a little panache as the first one had, and I think the panache was Matthew McConaughey's Dallas because he did bring some elements to it that wasn't in this one, which I think would have been valuable. Anyway, check it out. But it's a review. I'll put up this review shortly, and I'll take care of it. Have a good weekend and forth. Bye.